How the body physically reacts to threats and desires affecting the three basic human instincts. The amygdala is a small almond-shaped area of the brain that is the major processing center for emotions and is also linked to many other brain abilities, especially memory, learning, and the senses. It is part of a larger network in the brain called the limbic system that is vital to one's survival because it automatically detects danger. Fear is the main emotion that the amygdala is known to control. It also plays a role in aggression, learning through rewards and punishment, handling and using implicit, unconscious memory that allows one to remember how to do certain things without remembering how you learned them, like bike riding and shoe tying, social communication and understanding, including how one interprets another's intentions from how they talk and act, emotions relating to parenting and caregiving, emotions connected to memory, and learned behaviors related to addiction. Fear is experienced in the mind, but triggers a strong reaction in the body through an arc of complex interactions that have been key to mammalian survival for eons. It takes less than 100 milliseconds, just 1/10 of a second, for sensory information to reach the amygdala, which signals the brain to be aware by alerting the nervous system and sets the body's fear response into motion. Stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline are released. Blood pressure, heart rate, and breathing increases. Blood actually flows away from one's heart and into the limbs, making it easier for one to fight or flee. It is scientifically proven to be wired this way to protect us during traumatic situations. However, we're not running away from lions in the jungle anymore, so that old wiring is no longer helpful to us in that regard. As some parts of the brain are revving up, others are shutting down. When the amygdala senses fear, the cerebral cortex, the area of the brain that harnesses reasoning and judgment, becomes impaired. So at this moment, it's difficult to think clearly. Fear keeps us safe. It's important that we understand that fear is a natural and biological reaction to danger that we all are hardwired to experience for our basic survival. The amygdala is not limited to representing fearful stimuli, but it is also required for the performance of tasks in which individuals work for rewards, such as sex and drugs of abuse. Its role also includes the mediation of these through diverse psychological processes by interacting with both the cortex and striatum, another part of the brain, to influence motivated behavior. The amygdala stores memories that allow initially motivated relevant stimuli to become associated through Pavlovian cues, conditioned stimuli, with motivationally relevant unconditional stimuli such as food, sex, and fear, and allows the Pavlovian conditioned stimuli to influence the selection of actions within one's behavioral repertoire. Basically, it uses our past actions, whether learned or innate, as a guide for future actions. So how one reacted to fear or pleasure in the past will be limited to what they've already experienced. The amygdala plays a huge role in determining the past memories and actions that we revisit and choose when under stress. Alcohol's effect on the amygdala. Alcohol suppresses activity in the amygdala and reduces the reaction in it to feeling threatened. So emotional cues that signal threat are not processed normally because the amygdala isn't responding properly and reduces the coupling between the prefrontal cortex implicated in the socio-emotional information processing and decision making. The amygdala and the prefrontal cortex have a dynamic interactive relationship. How they interact enable us to accurately appraise our environment and modulate our reactions to it. If these two are uncoupled, as they are during alcohol intoxication, then our ability to appropriately respond is impaired and can lead to maladaptive behaviors such as social disinhibition, aggression, and social withdrawal. Research has shown that the amygdala is one of the areas of the brain worst affected by chronic alcohol use. A receptor in the amygdala called cannabinoid receptor 1, which helps extinguish addictive behavior, is expressed less in alcoholics, and brain images suggest that the amygdala is more active in alcoholics. Physical changes in the brain when drinking alcohol. Gamma aminobutyric acid, GABA, increases and helps rid the user of inhibitions and slows down the brain. Dopamine, glutamate, and serotonin stimulate pleasure and activate the brain's reward centers, signaling that alcohol is good for one's well-being. This cycle is hard to break and leaves one craving the boost of these chemicals once again. Interestingly, serotonin levels drop the more one drinks. If the user continues drinking, all parts of the brain that regulate human reasoning will go offline.